this computer. Recording in progress. All right, everybody, welcome to August 26th. I can't believe we're on our second one already. This is the PAsmart Grant Advancing Grant STEAM Saturday, week one. We have a number of libraries here, but we also have superstars Miriam and Lyndsey. They're gonna be teaching essentially how to code an app today, how to create an app. I don't want to put too much words on it because I might be entirely wrong in how they're going to do it. So I'm just going to leave it there. You're going to be working a couple programs which are already on your iPads. And then we'll just, by the end of this, you should be able to go, wow, look at what I did. So that's where we are. Does anybody have any questions before we begin for me? I'm talking to librarians now. Anything going on? No? Yes, no, maybe so. If you do have questions, jump in the chat, drop it in the chat. I know Lyndsey was hovering over the chat on Wednesday, and Miriam, they're going back and forth, which is awesome. I'll also be in the chat. I'll have my picture up instead, but I'll be watching the chat. Micah is over there, so he's also here, but he's over there. And my son is also monitoring back there. So it's a whole family. He's waving at you. It's a family environment today. There will be a recording of this event that I will record and put on YouTube. So if you want to go back and walk through with the kid again, fast forward, it'll be on YouTube later today. And then I'll email out. It's just on our VGC USA page, but it'll be there. Okay. And again, there's another show next week at this time, the exact same copy cut type of thing, copy paste thing. So if you want to come back, feel free to come back. It's entirely up to you. Or if your kids individually want to come back, they can do that as well. Does that make sense? Everybody cool? All right, so without further ado, let me introduce Lyndsey and Miriam. They are Apple Distinguished Educators out of Ireland. You are going to hear an accent. So don't think that they're Canadian people. They are across the Atlantic Ocean. Little geography lesson today. It is 3 o'clock-ish, almost 2:30-ish, where they live. So their day's almost over. So if you want to ask questions again, go to your library and say, hey, I got a question, and then work the connections out. But without further ado, you guys are up.
Hey, thanks. So yeah, you'll hear a stronger accent from Lyndsey when she takes over than mine. Mine's quite messed up and not so Irish.
Hey. Okay, yeah, but you're gonna hear some Southern accents with some of these people. So it'll be all right. We'll balance it all out. All right, let's go. You got that.
Okay, 1 second. And hopefully that looks okay. Lyndsey might just confirm.
Yeah, all good.
All good. Okay. So welcome today. We're really excited that you can join us from halfway across the world to learn how to code and why you can and should be learning how to code. So it is going to be informal. If you've got questions along the way, just get your librarian to pop them in the chat box, and we can stop and take questions at various different stages as well. I'll be switching over with Lyndsey, so I'll take over it sometimes, open the questions, and then she'll pop back after. So yeah, we are coming from the other side of the world, and we're actually coming from different parts of the country as well. So I'm down more south and she's in Dublin, and yeah, we are excited that you're coming to us from various different libraries. Today we're going to use Keynote and Swift Playgrounds. So they're two free apps that come on your iPads. And you might, if you attended the previous session, I think last month, you might have had some previous experience with Keynote, but if you don't, that's okay as well. So we're just going to bring those both together because they're both part of the app design process. So before we get coding and creating and designing, just some brainstorming ideas for you. I am really lucky that I get to teach coding across various schools here, and Lyndsey gets to teach it in her school. And when we are working with students who are about the same age as you are, we get them to think about apps that can make a difference. And we got an app developer to talk to my students a few years ago, and his advice to them, and I won't forget it, is don't create an app that you love, create an app that people can't live without, which I think is advice that my students remembered and thought about when they were using their app, when they were creating their apps. So when it comes to brainstorming ideas, I give some ideas to my students just to give them ideas. Today, we're going to keep this completely informal. We don't mind what content goes into the app that you create. So it's whatever interests you. It can be your favorite hobby, sport, something about you, your favorite game, whatever you want to do. But if you're stuck, think about these ideas as well. So their community environment, well-being, accessibility, and inclusion, and creativity. So when we're looking at these, I have some examples. So there's 5 different apps here, and you might be wondering, have you seen these on the App Store or maybe on your device previously? And you might have. Some of them are available on the App Store and some of them will be coming soon. But before that, I want to see, and you might just shove in the chat box, we'll get your librarian to, who do you think created these? So there's 5 different apps there, and they do tie into each of the community. So the first one is alerts for earthquakes. So the person who created this lives in a country where there are a lot of earthquakes, and they discovered that there weren't really up-to-date alerts and people's lives were in danger. So instead of waiting for somebody else to do that, they created their own. The middle one was a mental health app for teenagers. And the one beside that is one actually for deaf individuals. So again, it was a safety type of app where they discovered you can't obviously always hear like things like alarms. So they wanted to create an app that would link to a wristband that would provide kind of like vibration alerts to your wrist. So do we have any guesses of who created those?
That's incredibly impressive. That last one specifically, the thought of, and everybody hear what she's saying. Your phone, if you're deaf, you're not going to hear your phone like notifications. But if it's tied to something that vibrates on your wrist, well, I don't always carry my phone, but if I wear the Apple Watch and the watch vibrates, then I'll be aware to. I mean, that's such a simple thing. But wow, like how useful that is. Sorry to chime in, but that is.
No, I think that's really good. And what's good about all of these is they are really simple ideas. And I can like provide the names afterwards as information about all these apps out there. But the reason I show them is these aren't made by adults. These are problems that were decided were problems by teenagers. So everybody that created these, I'll just go on to 2 slides. This is just a quick 60 seconds. They're created by teenagers, and it took them 12 weeks to create their apps. And most of those are now on the App Store. A couple are coming in the next couple of weeks. So these are the teenagers behind them. You'll see they're from various different countries. I picked these ones because these are just featured ones. On the left, the Unstoppable Tech Girl. I've been following her for a while. She came up with her idea last year and won this big tech award. She's from India, and she's developed it further. The really nice thing about the one that we pointed out there with those alerts on your wrist, it was created by the Bionic Girls, and they're from Brazil, but they're all deaf. So they knew it was a problem for their community, and they went out and solved that problem. The middle ones are my students. So again, they discovered with COVID and remote learning and all that kind of thing, they were like, mental health is really important to teenagers, but our well-being isn't really being looked after. So maybe we should create an app for teenagers that is made by teenagers. So these are all problems that teenagers have discovered, have gone through, researched. They all competed in an international competition and are in the final 5 of their category worldwide. So they have developed their apps and put a lot of thought into it, but they only started last January. And they started with pretty much the exact same what we're doing today. So they came about a problem, then they created their little logos. They put in some research in their community, they learned how to code, and then they got to where they are now. So what you might go away from today with some ideas, and you might want to learn more or research more, and you can do that. So the app we will be using for coding is a real coding language, and if you have an iPhone or an iPad, the iPad in front of you, most of the apps on that are actually created with the Swift language, and it is a real language. So this is an example of brainstorming. This is actually the Bongos brainstorm that I took a picture of last January. I had no clue it was going to turn into an actual app, but you can see it's messy. And the whole point of brainstorming is you get all those ideas out of your head, you discuss them, and then you come up with the thing. I didn't really think about this until the other day, but they actually had their logo on the very first day, which is quite rare. And they had their little bongo character on the very first day. And I'm gonna stop sharing and hand over to Lyndsey now. She's gonna bring you through the keynote section where we'll just create a very basic app logo and an app prototype, and then I'll join you again for coding.
Perfect. I'm just going to hopefully share my, it should come up now. Okay, well, not working, so I'm just...
Yeah, you got it now.
You got it on now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So now I know, so everyone, hi, my name is Lyndsey. Maybe I've got to introduce myself again. I'm not sure, I know it's middle school and high school, but I kind of teach both. So in Ireland, we've post-primary, so I teach both of those kind of groups, and I teach coding with my students. And as Miriam said, we do quite a lot of brainstorming and things with this before we start actually making apps. And the reason for that is because when you start going into coding, it can get complicated very quick. And if you don't have the idea of what you want to create, you can run into trouble fairly quick, or you'll forget something that you've done, and then you have to try and go back and find out how you did it. But one of the things that I love doing with my students at the start is getting them to come up with an app logo. Now, if you open Keynote, so if any is open Keynote and open up a blank slide, doesn't matter what it is, we'll get you to start doing this. When you go up to the top, now on the iPad, it'll be a little bit different, but up at the top, you'll see all the kind of shapes, and you should see these shape button here. And when you click on it, there's all these different types of shapes. You can also swipe up at the top and you'll see activities, work, transport, and there's so many. But the first one we always kind of work on is this basic one here. This actually is the kind of shape that you see most app kind of logos that you'll see on the App Store when you download them on your phone or your iPad. This shape here is what you normally see. So that's the first thing we'll get students to look at doing. Now, the best bit is if you have an app and you're thinking of something, maybe your app is going to do with fitness. So if you're not good at drawing, because when I do this with my students, the first thing I'll hear is, I can't draw, I don't know how to draw. So we'll go with, that's okay, we've got shapes. We have hundreds and hundreds of shapes. You don't have to draw. If you can draw, brilliant. If you want to give that a go, you can draw straight on it as well. So if I put in, let's try fitness, and well, fitness, fit. No, we'll try something else. We can try sports, because I know that'll come up. So you can try different words. And what's great about this is as the word comes up, anything related to that word will come up. It doesn't have to be something perfect. So even if I write in key, so it's not just a house key, it's also keys of typewriter, keys of piano. So it's really, really good when you can kind of think of it that way. I don't know why, but my students are always obsessed with food. So food comes up quite a lot, and you can see here all the different types. So mine might be health and fitness, but I might be something to do with food. So again, all my friends who are very healthy, they love avocados. I am not a fan of avocados, but we'll let them go with it. So once I pick the shape, what I can do then is I can come up to the top on the iPad. You'll see the paintbrush over on this side, and I can change the color. So there's my avocado. I can look at putting the shape in here. I might look at putting another shape up at the top as well. And I can play around with it. Just this menus after coming up here and it's not letting me get my shape. So give me one sec. We'll just cheat. And I might go with, I don't know if that's meant to be a watermelon or an orange, but we'll go with it and see what we get. So I can go change the other colors here. I might go with orange. And again, with your finger, you can look at change the orientation. At least I can just use this. And I might look at making an app logo really, really quickly, just by changing a couple of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you 5 minutes to do a few different kind of app logos. That'll be great then, even if you can come up and show us. So what we'll do is we're going to press play and we're going to see who can come up with app logos in the next 5 minutes. As I said, you can make as many as you like. It doesn't matter or what you want to do. It might not relate to your app at the end of it, but at least it'll give it an idea of things that you can do. So if you open up Keynote, blank screen.
Could you?
Yeah. I can hear someone talking.
I think someone wants to go over those steps again,
Yeah, so
because
go
they're
to,
behind.
yeah.
Which is okay.
Start with the shapes again.
So
Refresh
what I'll
yourself.
do is no problem whatsoever. I'll go over with them again. So on the iPad, so it's a little bit different than the Mac. So that's why I'm just dragging this down so you can see. Up at the top of the iPad in Keynote, you'll see a button here and it's called shape. So it's like a square and a circle hidden behind the square. If you tap on that, you should see one of the first rows is basic. Now on basic, you'll see a square, and after that you'll see a square but the corners rounded off. If you tap on that, you'll get this little tile here. This is what we mostly use for any of our app icons, because that's the shape that you'll see when you download any type of app on your phone or device. Now, what I can do here again is if I tap up here, as I said, it's a little bit different on the iPad. When you tap on this, you'll see it'll come down and you'll see this little magnifying glass, but you'll also see all these names will be at the top of the screen. Now you can scroll across them with your finger, or you can tap on the magnifying glass and you can search for things. So again, I might type in animal and I can find all these different types of animals. And then if I find something that I like, so again, I might type the panda here. You can't see it because of the color, but that's okay, because what I'll do is I'll go over to where the paintbrush is up on the right side of the screen, and I can go to style, and I have all my different colors. So with this one here, because it's a panda, I'll do black and white, and I can grab on the grippers on the panda and make them bigger and put them into my tile like I've done just there. So again, all we're doing there now is giving a few minutes that people can kind of come up with a few ideas of maybe what an app icon would look like. And as I said, there's no absolutely right answer or perfect logo. It's just to give it a little bit of a go that you can, when you start coming up with ideas for your apps, that you can maybe come up with a logo as well. So I'll give it a quick 5 minutes and see how people, if anybody's any trouble,
Just
on to us and
simply unmute and ask the question. That's probably faster, to be quite honest. So if you have questions, Sharon, Annalise, anybody at all, Roland, if you guys have anything, just unmute and say hello. Okay. There's a fancy retro countdown, by the way. I dig it. Is this like a stock?
Miriam got that one.
Now, how did you go about making this while we're talking?
I didn't make it. There's
Okay.
like some 80 out there is like sharing all the stuff
The
right
stuff.
now.
Of course,
The other
of
day
course.
he
Yeah.
shared timers and I was like, perfect, I need timers. So I robbed a few timers. I mean borrowed a few timers.
Yeah.
Moved.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And this one seemed to fit into the whole theme of
I love
today.
it. Yeah, it's a very 8-bit old school. I get it.
Yeah. Someone was just asking there the view on a Mac or iPad. The main difference is there's text on the Mac, which was what Lyndsey was sharing there. On the iPad, it's symbols, so it's the paintbrush symbol and the square and the circle that you're looking for to put in those shapes. Everything else works the same.
Yeah.
Hey, Roland, are you
The
all
layout.
are you all caught up, Roland? Sorry, I'm just
I
gonna
know
ask.
there was a few people had gotten kicked out, so
We're in no rush. We're,
Yeah.
there's no rush on this today. We're here till technically 1, but most of us will be out here by 12. Go ahead, Roland. Any questions?
No, I'm not caught up.
Okay.
I was trying to get to,
Oh,
with the
Roland.
keynote and with the blank,
So the blank
'cause
screen keynote.
'cause that's where we're starting, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So open up a
Oh.
blank screen in keynote. Sorry, you got that?
But what I'll do is I'll go through it again. So I'll come out of timer because we can.
You go out of your keynote and just open up a blank keynote deck. I think that's what he was looking for
Yes.
to actually open up, the template.
Yeah, when you first open up Keynote, it'll come up with a blank one. I'm gonna try again and see if I can get my iPad to actually.
Okay.
If not, I have mine still mirrored. So.
There we go.
So it says present, that's where it says presentation, and then you count the blank screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll say like asking for open a template. And then
Miriam, is my iPad coming up on the screen?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
perfect.
if you just
sorry,
go out
he's-
of that, he's actually
Yeah,
on the
I'm gonna
step
go out
before.
Okay.
to show you to start. So I apologize because I had my AirPods on, they just died. My dog hears voices she wants to play. But what I'll do there is, so when you come out here, up at the top, so you'll see here a plus button, and if you tap on that, you can choose a theme. And with that, sorry, just gonna throw this. You can hit basic. So once you tap on that,
welcome.
there's your blank screen.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
can tap, and if you tap on any of these, so like with this, I'm just gonna tap to delete. And then what we said previously was up the top here, there's your shapes button. So you can tap on the shapes and you can move this around. But again, that square shape is normally what all the app kind of logos and that look like. If I'm not happy with the color,
But
I can come in here to
I
paintbrush.
I
with
don't
fill.
see those buttons. I see with my presentation, it says edit.
Oh, when you first open it,
Like
if you
edit.
see where edit is, tap edit. So
Okay,
if you
so-
tap on edit, it sometimes comes up when you're opening it.
Okay, that's what it was, the edit. Okay, now I
Okay.
have that.
Perfect. So once you're on that, then you'll be able to, you'll see all these buttons up at the top here. And then again, you've got your shapes button, and then you've got your paintbrush here that you can add any colors. So again, if I come back here, up at the top is where I have all the options. So I can go to say symbols. I might want to go with my Wi-Fi symbol,
And
and I can put this here.
so the symbols, are they under the paintbrush?
No, so the paintbrush is only when you want to change colors or the orientation or things like that. If you go up to this button here, you'll see up the top. So see where all this text is up at the top. So you normally, when you open it first, you'll see basic, and you've got your text, and you've got just some basic symbols there. But if you
But,
want something different, you've got these ones all across here.
I
you've
don't
got two-
see those buttons. I see a plus and like a triangle. I mean, I see the paintbrush, but I don't see those up in that area.
You see a
Okay,
search.
so did you go?
Like a
You
search.
might have a different version of
No.
Keynote then. It might be an older version, maybe.
Do
Are
you,
you tapped on?
You can customize that area at the top. So I'm wondering if someone has possibly customized it,
Mm.
but I'm not sure how you do that.
Is there any way you can show us your screen?
can you share your screen in this call?
Even if you just hold it up to the the
Okay.
camera.
Up to the camera that we might be able to see.
Okay, well, this is a problem that I'm having with the video, or let me see. Now, for some reason or another, with this laptop, it's not, well, I have the sound, but I don't have the video portion.
Can you take even a screenshot and put it into, I don't know, can you put that into chat or message it?
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. Because see, what I have is just a colored triangle and a plus sign there. And, the 3 dots above it. I do have the paintbrush in the other.
Can you, in the Zoom call right now, the one you're on, can you just find share screen and show us and like your screen will come on this main screen?
Yeah, if I stop sharing, you should be able to.
So if you share your screen right now, so down at the bottom, it says share screen in the Zoom call.
Okay, but
Everybody else is working on creating an app logo, so we're fine. It's good.
okay.
Yeah.
And
I know
Tiffany-
because I'm
Tiffany, I
trying
think-
to figure out because I'm on the iPad, but then I'm using a laptop for the Zoom.
No, it's going to be different on a laptop than an iPad.
Yeah. Oh no, and so that's what I'm just saying. I'm holding the iPad, but I'm using the laptop, and that's what we're.
Okay, so you're connected to the Zoom call on a laptop, but your iPad is, so you can't share your iPad.
Yes.
Okay, do you see a little search like magnifier, like a little eyeglass magnifier icon anywhere on your keynote?
Okay. Now for some reason or another, now it's there.
Hey, listen, that's like class. It's as classic as it gets. They're there. Okay, so click on the shape and then go to work.
Okay.
Remember, you're not just teaching youth, you're teaching adults as well. Just remember this.
Okay.
Like you're teaching me, I'm following along on my own too.
Okay, so it was the circle. Is that the right one? That's the shape?
So what I'll do is I'm gonna share back
Yes.
my screen now again. Oh, hang on. I have to,
All right,
before I
where
do that, I have
they're
to share
showing
screen.
my.
So I'm gonna share my screen again.
All right.
All right, Roland, I'm gonna push mute on you, okay? So we can go over this one more time, all right?
Yes.
All right,
Thank you.
gotcha. Let's
Okay.
go. Sorry, Roland, I cut you off on
Sure.
that one.
And then I'm just gonna put this on, and Miriam can tell me if you can see my screen again.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do is this button up the top here. So the square and the circle, when you tap on that, you should see your basic shapes is normally the first one that comes up. At the top here, you've got these kind of categories, we call them. You can use your finger to scroll through them and you can tap on them. So these are all the different types of shapes that you have. So what we normally do when we're doing this one, we start with basic and we go to this second shape here, because this is normally the one that most people recognize for the tile that they see with any app that they download. Then we'll go back up to our shapes and look at, so if I have an idea of, as I'm going across here, maybe my app has something to do with nature, so I can maybe pick something here around nature, or because it's Ireland, I could do something about the fact that our weather changes every 2 seconds. And I can put, so here it was sunny, and then you'll be frozen next. So I can do something like this and have 2 different shapes. So all I've done there is once the shape is highlighted, if I want to change anything, the paintbrush here will give me the style. So I can go around colors. I can put borders and things in it, but we won't go through with that. Just basic, we can go with adding shapes, changing the colors. And what we have there is something we can look at with an app logo. So hopefully that one's okay for you there, Ronald. So what I'm going to do is come back into this now. I'm assuming that's probably about 5 minutes. So we'll go into the next bit and just show you. So what myself and Miriam have done here is we've prepared a few examples. So these are just some examples of logos that we created using shapes. Now, you'll see by any of these logos, what we always try to do is when we're thinking about logos, if you think of your favorite apps at the time, and I know when I ask my students, one of the ones will be TikTok, something else will be Snapchat, someone else will be maybe Instagram. But the thing that all those icons have is they're very recognizable, but they're very simple. So if you look at Snapchat, it's yellow and has the ghost on it. TikTok, it's black and it has its symbol on it. Instagram, really recognized by the color scheme and the camera. So really simple. They don't have to be really detailed, or most of the time, the simpler they are, and if it can get across what you want by one or two symbols, it means people are going to pick up what they are very quickly. Because again, when you're developing apps, and this is one I talk to my students quite a lot about, is you have to think of that someone might look at your app and they might not have English, might be their second language. So they might not know by word or anything in it that what that app does. But like with this one here, I put that's a symbol for a fingerprint. So this means must have something to do with maybe fingerprint or scanning, or we know now security. People use fingerprinting for security. And this one here, a stopwatch, really simple, but time. And again, this one here for your timer as well. And again, just changing the colors. And we've got one here, which is a light bulb, which most people would recognize as maybe it's an idea. So something to help with generating ideas. So although I have no idea what any of these app logos are, I just wanted them and thought they look cool. But with the symbols, I automatically, and most people would think of an idea. And the other thing we'd have there is we'd have high contrast. So this is something we talk quite a lot. High contrast is, again, if you have a dark background and use a light kind of symbol, it's really easy to see. And it's clear that when I look at the logo, I know what it is. If I use too many colors or too much contrast, it can get a bit messy. So we'll do is see if anybody wants to share any icons or logos they did before we go into the next step and see how we got on. So I'm going to.
So in other words, it's time to share, people. Who's created what? Let's see some stuff. We're teachers. We got it. Yeah. Annalise, it looks like the people around you are working hard. So yeah, come on, somebody share with us. Who's got something? It doesn't matter. Yeah, one at a time. Look at this.
Look forward to this.
Oh,
someone got into drawing. I like that.
Very nice. Very nice. Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's nice. And high contrast smiley face in the
I
middle.
like it.
I like that looks like, is that something to do with dance? That's I think that's like a TikTok dance that my students keep telling me that I have to do if they win stuff.
I like the gradient. Green to blue is very cool colors.
Those
very
are
cool.
really nice.
That was a nice one.
Oh, here we go. Oh, we got a couple
more.
Look at the different colors in that. I like the mustache. Oh, a vault.
I gotta get some pictures of these things. Look at that. Oh, there it is. There
I'm kind of wondering with the skull and the knife and fork, is it food that will kill you?
I'm looking at the splat one in the middle at Sharon's at Newcastle.
That's very cool.
Like, wow.
I love the science symbol with all the colors. They look really cool.
Atomic symbol. Very nice.
Oh, owl. Oh, I like that. Moony night owl.
That's easily a library kind of logo if you're doing like
that is nice. I like the color and the slightly different color of the owl's eyes.
Oh, I love your colors.
Nice.
Is that
nice radiance?
The orange and the like that light blue is very nice. Or do you call it a green? Do you think it's probably it's like a aqua? I like it. Your color, you guys have great color selections today. Everybody's got good color vibes.
Oh,
this
I like
is going to be about food.
Nice.
Tell me this is about food. All right, that's what you're going with, right? Thumbs up, thumbs down. That one's about food in the middle. It's got to be Sharon. It's got. All right, very nice.
It's about food.
Yeah, it's good. It's morning times, right?
No, right, it's near dinner time for us.
That's cool. That's cool. All right, well, hey, they're on it. Let's go.
They're really good. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go back in and I'm going to show you something that we can do with creating what we call our prototype. So I'm going to go back into sharing my screen. And so this has gone, there we go. Now, one of the things that we like to do with prototyping is making sure that, as I said, we think about how it's going to work before we do it. So one of the things that you'll find in the shapes, I'm sorry, I have to keep doing this because the shape menu just keeps disappearing. If you go into your shapes and you look at typing in phone, so you'll see you actually get a phone. So again, sorry, my puppy really picks the best time. She was fast asleep when I started this. But we'll go with phone here. So I'm going to make this phone and just make it as big as I possibly can. So what we try to do here is we try to think through what our when you open an app, you have what we call our UI, our user experience. What does that look like? So if you had some examples, and I'll go back to ours now in a sec, this is an example of different screens that may appear on an app. So again, if I'm going here and I think about with my app, I might want to have, let's see, the easiest one for me sometimes to do is a school app. So what I'll do here is, again, I always go into basic for the buttons. I like this one because I do like having the corners slightly taken off. But if I bring it across here like this, I can make it like different types of buttons. So I'll get 1 second while I'm going to, my dog is trying to go to sleep, but she's just given out about everything at the minute. So once I do this, I'll have my little button. And what I might do then is I might click on it or tap on it, and you can see copy. Or you can see that if I tap on it again, I can duplicate and I can bring it out. So what I can do here now is go to my paintbrush and tap on my paintbrush, and I can look at maybe changing the colors. Now, once I do that, I can double tap into the center of it, and I can put, so with school, my students, they might get lost. So I'll put in map. I might put in here a timetable, because just to know what classes they might have next during the day. So I can keep adding these kind of buttons. So before we do the next part, what I'm going to do is give you 2 minutes just to think about getting this phone started, and maybe put 1 or 2 buttons in while I put my dog outside so she can stop barking. So we'll give you a couple of minutes, just try and see if you can get a phone and get maybe 1 or 2 buttons of just a little bit of an idea, and then I'll show you how we can make this work like it's nearly a real app on your iPad.
I don't know about any other libraries out there, but Tiffany at Butler's having bandwidth issues. And I said, I mean, that's, wow, you know, you think you have everything available covered, but then it's like, oh, bandwidth. Like, so yeah, so it just, I would go through with the iPads and make sure the kids aren't on Roblox or something right now, and just have them double tap their screen, the button. And if there's anything extra open, not Swift, not Keynote, just zip it off. Like, because if they're on YouTube, that's just consuming your bandwidth, you know, even if it's just chilling, right? So that's working in a digital school as well. I deal with that all the time because kids stream Netflix. It's like constantly Netflix. I fight Hulu. Yeah, look at him. He looked over. I saw it. Netflix and Hulu. Yeah. So I wish the bandwidth.
I'm in charge of that, and I have those websites blocked from my students' iPads, so they can't even open them on them.
Yeah, I don't. I have in my school system. I have parents who will scream about everything. So it is what it is. So you know, you fight the fights you can fight, and you don't fight the ones you can't fight. So
that is very true. Okay, so we'll see how people are kind of getting on. So if we have got. If anyone has any questions or anything like that, just with some of the buttons.
And I know there's a couple of libraries here where you can't possibly see the screen for this. When we get to the next section, which will be for the remainder of the time that we have, what I'll be doing is I'll be walking through a playground alongside the walkthrough that's within the playground. So if you can't see my screen for bandwidth reasons, you can still follow along on the screen because you'll be able to see everything that I'm pointing out. So bear with us for just a few more minutes and then it should be
Yeah,
okay.
and
I
then
know
we'll go.
we all deal with bandwidth issues.
Yeah,
You think you've all the devices and all the everything, and then the internet
Everywhere.
fails you.
Everything and anything. So I always tell my students, I sometimes wish they'd use their powers always for good and not trying to get past every part of my system all the time. So just if anyone's struggling with that, I'll go through one or two bits. But again, as I said, just I can add these kind of buttons. Now, one of the things I would get sometimes with my students do is instead of using text or with the text, what we sometimes do is put in a symbol too. And again, the reason we do this, so if I have, I'm just going to put time because here's a timetable. So the reason I tell my students that we do these kind of things is, again, if you're thinking about making an app, we try to think about how people use it. And it's not just how would I use it, because my experience using an app can be sometimes completely different to some other people's. So one of the things we always talk about is accessibility. So if, as I said previously, English might not be your first language, so they might not understand the word timetable. And it takes a while to learn how to code and change it into multiple languages. Just, I know some people will tell me that straight away. But putting something like a little symbol beside that can really help. Or instead of using text, you could use symbols completely, because again, when you look at, when we're showing things, people will understand pictures and symbols and icons a lot quicker than they will a word. So after I do this, and once I have a few kind of bits done, so I'm going to show you what we call a little kind of a magic thing. So I'm just going to do another button. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to duplicate. And I'm going to put results. Now, for us, this could be, and again, I do love the fact that it checks my spelling because I'm a very bad speller. So I'm going to put that as blue. Now, one of the things that we do with this is how can we make it look like it's an interactive app? So what I want to do is I want to make this button work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this here as if it's a tracker, and I'm going to add, or you can duplicate the page. So I've two phones here. I can get rid of these buttons here and that little logo. So all I'm doing is just saying this is a tracker for results to say that, look, your results are going really good. You're getting better results towards the year. So I'm going to put that as a screen. Now, what I'm going to do is, so if you want to watch this for 2 seconds, is I'm going to make this button work on my iPad. So what I do is you come to the shape, okay? So when you come to the shape, if you tap on the shape, you'll get a list of things to do, or a list of, on the top of it, you get a list of things. One of the things you'll get is link. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change this to the iPad. It's just sometimes with the iPad, it's I won't see as if you're asking me questions with that. So Miriam will tell me if that's happening. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to
I
share
don't see
my
iPad.
no, it should be coming up now. Hopefully.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So just so I can see, it's a little easier, I can show you what it looks like on an iPad. Now, when I tap on this, you'll see here a list of things. There's a little arrow just at the end. When you tap on that, you see link. So when I tap on link, it gives me linked to, we're linking it to a slide, but I can also link it to a web page, an email, or a phone number. But I'm leaving it as slides. We don't really have to touch this. You can link to next. Now, I use this top one here, link to slide, because if you look here at the side of all the slides, they're all numbered. So I'm working off slide 14. The next one I have is slide 15. So I always get my students to do this in case they move things around, the link will stay. So I go link to slide, and I can come down here and go, oh, there's number 15, and tap on it. Okay. So what happens now is if I play and I put it in full screen, it looks like it's an app. But if I come to this button and actually tap on the results button, and it will go to this slide. So it makes it look like it's working. Now, you'll see here, one of the issues I have is when I get to this part, how do I get back to what we call our home screen? So I can come up to my shapes. And again, I can go to my search menu and I can type in maybe home. Again, this is a button that most people would know straight away that it's home. I'm just going to change the color so it can be seen on the bottom of the screen here and zoom in. I'll make it a little bit smaller. I'm just going to put it here for a minute. Again, tap on it, tap link, and I'm going to come back to my home slide was slide 14. So tap on slide 14. So now if I press on this and I tap that home button, it brings me back to this. So what you can do with this is you can actually make really, really working apps. And I'll show you an example in 2 minutes of some of my students and some of the kind of prototype apps that they've made and what it looks like. So if anyone's stuck, I'll go through it again. But what you're trying to do is when you click on the button, you'll see a list of things and a little arrow. When you tap on that, you should see link. And when you link it, you can link it to the number slide that you wanted to go to. So if you try that, and then I am going to find an app to show you how one will work. Again, just sometimes I just want to make sure the app that I'm showing you is working. So if you want to see, this one here is an app that one of my students made. So if I press play on it, you'll see here the home screen, and he has it. So this was an app that he was designing to help people in nursing homes remember to take medication and maybe hospital appointments and things like that. So what I can do on any of these is I can come up, and if I tap on where it says welcome Mary and the little circle with the person, that's your profile. So I can tap on that. It'll bring me to a different screen and show me all their information. And he has a little arrow up at the top left. I can tap on that to go back to my home screen. I can go down to the bottom where my phone call is and tap on my phone call. So he's done here, he's given 3 options for people I can ring. So if I tap on one of them, he has it as if it's calling. I realize, oh, I'm calling the wrong person. So I'll X out and it brings me to a red screen as if I've hung up. So you can see here at when I scroll through, all of this is different slides. And all that he has done on this is, so you can see the blue little piece there and the blue one up there, that is a link. So if I do any of this, it will bring it to a certain slide. So all of these, and it makes it look like it's really working like an app, is done with linking and shapes. Because as we said, he has developed the idea, the design of the app out really, really well. So when he goes now to try and create it in Swift, it's a lot easier for him to, or a lot quicker for him to design it and create it, because he has already a really good idea of what it looks like, how it's going to work, how the buttons are going to work, how do I get home or how do I get back from one screen to the other. So he's made it as a really good working app. So what I'll do is stop for a sec just to see if anyone's struggling and needs any help. Or if we're all good and seeing what some people are created, we can get a few if anyone needs any help or anything. I see a lot of moving around, so I'm assuming people are going good. So I'll stop sharing for a second, see how we're getting on.
Okay, does everybody understand?
Oh, students are doing a great job. Students always fly with this. I mean, some of the stuff they create is unbelievable. That student was 14 at the time when he created that. Yeah. He's doing computer science now, but he's flying with stuff.
You know, it's really interesting to watch what you're presenting, because all this is pre-thinking. A lot of it is pre-thinking, like, okay, this is what I want to do. Well, what are the 12 steps to get there that I have to do? So let's start with the button. Where does this button lead? Okay, what is the next thing? And it's just very, like, it's just a mathematical kind of scientific way of getting from point A to point X. It's really interesting. I mean, we do it naturally, but to see it like, here's a purpose-driven small thing, go. It's awesome. You guys are doing a great job, by the way. I tweeted at you already.
Thank you. I know we've learned the hard way with students. Like, they love getting stuck into them straight away, but then they'll forget something simple. Like one of my students started creating something, but forgot about getting from a home page back.
Well, that's
And
that is all the problem with coding. You forget a comma somewhere, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
8 hours later, you find the comma. You know.
yeah, we found it just reduces the stress on students when they have a prototype done, that when they go to the coding, it makes the coding more enjoyable because they're not figuring out, oh, I forgot this bit and I need to go, where did I put, what part did I code that button for and where is it? And
Yeah.
so it's made it a lot quicker and easier to get students into the really kind of fun parts of coding.
Yeah, or just remember, you're there. I know you keep saying students, and I'm like going like, oh, 6th to 10th graders in my brain, but there are some adults in these rooms who are also playing along and learning and like. So yeah, so this is super cool. You guys are phenomenal, doing a great job. Just just saying, let your head swell a little bit, okay, just a little bit.
They won't be on the screen
Your
anymore.
heads don't
Oh,
swell
yeah.
in Ireland
Oh,
very often.
here we
will put
go.
it back, oh, look at
All right.
that.
Leechburg's got. Oh, it's the
That
owl
looks
back.
incredible.
Okay.
I'm so
Leechburg
amazing. Oh, that is amazing.
Oh, the buttons are really nice. Oh, you definitely have really good color scheme.
Colorful.
My niece
I
was
want to
impressed. She
like
tells me
get you
now.
over and
Yeah, the
Yeah.
contrast, like it's very
Okay.
easy to see the buttons. It's so like you have this
Yeah,
dark
very easy.
background and bright buttons. It's my eye goes right from the owl to the buttons. So you did a great job. That's awesome. Yeah, let me see what you got. Oh, here we go. Annalise, what do you got? It's the drawing one before.
Oh, look
Okay,
at this.
it is. Very
We got
cool.
the buttons and the buttons.
He's already connecting.
Excellent.
Play. There it is. Just play. So let
Oh,
me
I
see.
love the teacher too.
Can I see
Pokemon
the
teacher.
soccer? Can I see the soccer player? Like the second one. So you hit the button. Show me that one because you took it away right before I could really see it. So you push the button. Now hold that up. Let me see what that is. Did you draw that or did you bring it in like a picture? Which one was it? I don't know if you can hear you.
There you go. So this is a level that he's going into. He's making a game simulator.
Hey, okay. That's cool.
Excellent.
By the way, I dig Pikachu, by the way. It's a nice
Yeah,
shirt.
Pikachu t-shirt is cool.
There it is. All right. Yeah, it's funny because like when we talk about people and talk about things that we're doing and it's always like just go play. And it's just go play. So even the next one, the next month is VR AR. So like it's again, same idea, different version, different thing, just go play. So it's gonna be cool.
The prototyping though, when you get it and you see the buttons and you can make it look really like a really working app really quickly. Oh, it's the most. I have so much fun trying to figure out things of how to make it work better and I'd spend hours doing it. It's so much fun.
I had 2 students in an advanced placement. I want to say it's advanced placement in computer science. They had to do a final project as part of the thing, and they designed a VGC USA app in Swift. So now the kid is a senior now. He just came back to school on Thursday. And I was like, Noah, you need to sit down and actually, I paid the $100 for the app store. Let's finish getting it online. Like, cause we were running some like business, you don't have the right numbers kind of thing. So now we're going to be going live with this app of our own. It's very cool.
And
Oh,
it's great
That
now
is
with the
really
iPad.
cool. And it's
how
cool when you see
accessible
the
it is.
journey from the start all the way through. Like we've started with just those ideas. You saw the really rough brainstorm from week 1. And we're gonna, if people are ready, we don't want to rush you, but we are going to start
so you
coding.
can
I know
look
it's so much fun to stay in Keynote. We would stay the whole time in Keynote.
Keynote
But
is
you
great.
can totally watch it back. And if you have a sibling at home or anybody that has an iPad at home, just go home and borrow their iPad and make your prototypes. You can spend as long as you want on it. Then we are going to bring you to the next step because I promise the next step is also loads and loads of fun.
So much fun.
I'm going to share my screen again, and we'll just do a couple of things before we open up playgrounds.
At least now we're getting into the real fun coding part. So you can take some of those ideas and we can start looking at how we're going to make them into real apps, and then get everyone to sign an agreement that Miriam and I get 10% of whatever apps that you develop and design. So
Josh bound as well. Okay. So don't lie.
The
Don't
whole
leave
team.
me out of this.
I can't even get my own students to do that. And yeah, they're the ones that have the apps on the app stores. So yeah, Lyndsey brought up this screen, and the ones in the middle are actually Keynote. and the ones on the outside are Swift. So you can see there's not much of a difference between them, really. Obviously the ones on the outsides work. So we are going to bring you to the next step of getting to code. Once I do a couple of things at the start, I'll just go through walkthroughs, but people are completely free to go through those at a faster pace than if you feel like you can. So if you're like, oh, she's going too slow, I could do more, just self-pace yourself through it. Similarly, if you're really stuck, obviously put it in the chat box and we can back up. But also if you follow those steps that I'm following, they are kind of a backup to me. So it'll also hopefully help those poor people with bandwidth issues. But from what I've seen, it is there's no internet issue stopping the creativity here today. So before I get out of Keynote, I have one last step for you to do, because I was going to forget to do this. And we want to grab our little logo if you still have it. If you've deleted it, don't panic. But if you still have it, just take a screenshot, which should be the top and a button on your iPad and the round button, I think, on those iPads. Yep. So just take a screenshot. It'll come in the bottom of your screen, and you can sorry, I need to do it again because I was not tapping. You can just crop in your little logo. If you don't crop it, it's okay. We're just going to use them for our app, so I'm going to save that to my photos. So you try and take a screenshot of your logo if you have one, and then we'll just try and get that into our camera roll. If you don't, it won't stop the next bit. It's just a little bit of fun to see your created icon in the app that we're going to create. So I'm going to now go into Swift Playgrounds. So it's a bird, an orange. I used to always say it was the bird app, but then Twitter's also a bird app, but now the bird is gone from Twitter. So really it is the only bird app that's out there still. So it is the bird app, which is this one with the little round, outside on the bird in this. So when you open it, I think it was the Tiffany Butler Public Library has done a great job and pre-installed loads of these because they were having some issues with syncing. If you have pre-installed, you can see I was playing around with this earlier today again, and you can see all the bongo. I have so many bongo versions down there from students just sending them to me as like backup. It's always good to have a backup. But if you do have them like this and you have multiple and they're syncing, just remember what number, or you can just from here rename them and you can give them a name just so that you remember who's working on which one. If you do not have About Me, yes, that's also okay. So it's a very small playground. It will hopefully not crash anybody's Zoom. But if you go into See All down on the kind of almost bottom right, you will see in the middle on the left, as I say, there's no bandwidth issues. Mine actually loaded really slow there. And I'm going to get a fresh copy of this About Me. So it's going to be, for me, I think it's going to be About Me 5 because I didn't rename my other ones. And this is a brand new copy of this About Me playground. So I'm going to tap into this. Now, what I'm going to do is I will follow mostly the steps of the tutorial steps. So we'll do it as in the way that Playgrounds tells us to. But before then, I am going to skip some steps to get to put in our little icon. Because I think it's always really fun to have your icon on the screen of your iPad. So on the top left, and I am keeping an eye on the chat, so hopefully people are able to follow this. On the top left, you click on the navigation So it's just here, click on the navigation and then click on About Me. And you will see the name. You can change the name of this. Changing the name won't crash your app or anything like that. The accent color, what that means, it's kind of the colors that, you know, your back arrows and your little symbols will be by default. I'm going to go with a bright color today. I'm going to go with yellow because I can. And then for my icon, I'm going to go into my photos and I'm going to hopefully have my little one from here. I'm actually going to pick the first one, not the panda that Lyndsey had. You know, I don't have this at the right size. It doesn't matter for this. Passy, I will backtrack in 1 second. So if it's not the right size, it doesn't matter. On an iPad, it will scale it for you. So I'm going to scale that, and you can ignore everything else on here and go back. So where I'm going to go is I'm going to go back. So you go up to the top. I'll actually go all the way back, just because I'm not sure how far back. If you don't have the playground, you open up Swift Playgrounds or Playgrounds, which is the Bird app, and get the About Me playground. And when you're within the About Me playground, now I know there is one library where they have lots of different ones of these because you've pre-installed them, so which is great. So you just go into whichever one you're told to go into. And then here, if you go into tap the app settings in About Me, you will guess the accent color. The only things we're going to change, you can change the name. I'm not going to change the name. You can change the accent color, and you can put in the little logo or icon in there as well. You don't need to go through capabilities or any of that. What capabilities it actually is, I can open it just because it might interest you. It's allowing those kind of permissions that if you have a phone or an iPad, you know, it says, is the camera allowed to connect to, or are you allowed to use the camera in this app? And you say yes or no. That's what a capability is. But we don't need that. So we're going to ignore that for now. In other apps, you might be looking for them and it'll ask you to put them in there. So here you go. And now we're going to start. So just before I start, just an overview of where everything is. On the left-hand side of your screen, on an iPad, is all your coding files. So your coding files are the ones with the bird icon. They're your Swift files. It's a Swift bird. That's why they're called Swift files. It's not very creative. It's just called that way. Assets are your pictures, and it could also be videos, or it could be different font types, or it could be audio files. But right now it's just pictures, and all of these pictures, if I click on blue, it's a blue character. Bite is like an orange character, and green is obviously green. These are your coding characters from the Playgrounds app. The blue, the purple, and the orange aren't actually characters. These are just background colors. I think there's a few different ones of them in there that we will end up using as we go along in the tutorials. So that's just that side. If we want to upload anything, you don't have to remember this for now, because when we do, I will show it again. This will upload new information. Along the top, this little play button, which you're familiar with, I would hope, from Keynote, just plays your app. So it just plays a full screen. This one here and this one here, we're not going to need right now, like not today. They're more advanced ones. They're for putting in different features that we don't need today. They're just buttons. You can, like, if you're flying today and you want to go in and see what these do, you're totally welcome to, but you're not going to need them today. This one here we're going to need. It's your symbols. So you know those shapes that we saw in Keynote? These are kind of the same thing, but they are an app-friendly version that Apple have created for all their apps. So if you go into an app made by me, made by Lyndsey, made by one of our students, made by someone, I'm going to say the Quake It Off girl in India that I featured previously, all our icons are going to look the same because there is a library with, I don't know how many of them. I think I counted them when the new ones came out, and there was well over 1,000 of them. So there's lots of different icons in here. This is your color, or these are your colors. So they're, you know what color, what red looks like. So just when we're putting in a color, just remember that red is called red. I know it's not really possible to forget that red is red, but just in case you forget, there's a little reminder up here. But it is also good for, like, you might say purple, purple's there, but you might not know that this color is called indigo. So if you forget that, that's up there. Same with mint and teal. So that's just a reminder of your colors. This up here, your little tick, we always want to see ticks. But if you don't see a tick, don't cry. There's going to be times when you don't see ticks. You will see a ugly red X, and that just means there's a little issue with your app. But this is where we're making the mistakes. You're making the mistakes here today in a fun environment. You're not in a computer science job with a 5 p.m. deadline and everybody getting you to get an app on the App Store today. It's just a fun environment. So if you make mistakes, we all make mistakes. And I think I've become a lot less scared of that X. I will make some intentional mistakes or maybe some accidental mistakes. So you'll get to see this change as we go through. This, the little books, that's your tutorial. If you're missing it at any stage, that's how you get it back up. And then this one here is your app preview. So what we actually want, I don't want blue up here. I want my code and maybe this. So you're not going to see them all at once. You'll see some code and some preview. So just imagine this as being like a little phone on the side of your screen. And then on the right, you don't really need that right now. So that's just the interface. But we'll do this step by step. So we have our little logo in. This code, you probably are looking at it and maybe you're thinking it doesn't look a whole lot like code. And you might see some things on the screen on the right that look familiar. So for example, system image person, that's this little person down here. So it says home. It's in yellow because I clicked yellow earlier, which is probably isn't the best demo color. I never let my students use yellow, but then one year I had a student use yellow really, really well just to prove me wrong. So I never say don't use yellow anymore. Just be careful when you're using yellow. So the story and the book are down here, and these are there as well. These, you won't see them here, because the all about, this little image that isn't an image, and this here, they're in a different view. So they're actually in a different bit of code, and we will find that. But what I'm going to do now, instead of just going and doing it in a random order, is I'm going to follow the steps, because I am aware that some people might not be able to see the screen fully because of the coding, the bandwidth issues. I'm going to bring up the little book symbol and go through the start building. Another way that you can do this is if I go back, it'll also appear up here. Sometimes it's easier. Well, I actually find it's easier for me to see it up there than on the side, but it depends on your preferences. So in here, I'm going to click learn more and see what it has me doing. Oops, I just want to move my chat box out of the way. So it says, welcome to About Me app. So this is your About Me app. And we're going to start building a few different things. So you can tap on the start building and it will bring us to first 6 different steps. So it says the home view is the first tab of your app. So if you remember a minute ago, it was on the bottom left with a little person and it was in yellow. And it's the first thing someone sees when they launch your app. So when you open up Facebook, TikTok, any of your apps, you know, the way you see your kind of feed of all the new videos or posts, this is basically home view. Sometimes it might be called content view as well. So you've seen this in action already. And we don't have to tap this run button, but let's just tap it just because it's telling me to. So if I tap it, you'll now see this in full screen and you won't see any code. If you've done this right now and you don't know how to get out, there is a little orange bird on the top right, and you can click on that and you can stop and it will get you out of there. So to preview your app, you can do that. So I'm doing that. Before you customize the user interface, take a look and see how it's built. We've kind of done this already. So you have different views. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just do that quickly again, but I'm going to do it from content view. So in here, now, unfortunately, you can only have 2 of these open at one time. So I'm going to have to open up the bit on the left with the navigator and go through. So home view has my image. It has my all about and it has my name. There's stories, favorites, and fun facts. So remember those three things, stories, fun facts, and favorites. And if I open up the side, you can see stories, fun facts, and favorites. And that's where you change them. So the good thing about this code is it is really easy to tell where everything is. And I think that's an important thing to remember when you are coding. Think about it that, like, if I'm naming my files, I want to be able to send it to Lyndsey, for example, or to one of you, and you can change something if you want to. I don't want you to have to spend a few hours going, where is the code for this? Because she's named her files like file 1, file 2, file 3, file 4. So it's really good to just have it so that everybody understands what you're doing. So I'm going to go through this. So this one doesn't really do anything. So the other thing that it's pointing at here is a VSAC, which orders things from the top to the bottom. So you have 3 different types of stacks. V stacks, which are vertical stacks, H stacks, and Z stacks, and we'll come across them. So this one's vertical. You can probably guess that something's going to be horizontal, so it'll be left to the right. And there's also one that will organize things kind of back to forward as well. But we'll come across all of those. And I'm going to go through to the end because we want to get to the fun bit. So there's 2 types of images. Resizable. We'll just automatically size this to the size that it's meant to be. And then scaled to fit, we'll just keep it in the available space. And I just realized I've never seen this before. There is a typo in their instructions. Yeah, I never noticed that before. So we're going to start customizing. So that was kind of just because these next 10 steps are a lot more exciting. So we're going to open up the left sidebar, which is here. And then we are going to add a file, and we're going to put a picture in here. So this, if you have a photo, it can be your icon from earlier. If you want to take a picture of something, someone, anything in the library, just make sure you've got permission if you're taking of a person. You can take a photo from your photos. So I'm going to go with photo, and I'm going to just stick to my little symbol that Lyndsey created earlier that I robbed from her. So it is called image assets. But if I go back to my steps, and once I show you the steps to this, I'm gonna just break and make sure that everybody has this bit done. Oops, did not mean to do that. So it'll say open up the left sidebar, add the file. I've added a file. Tap photo to add my asset. So like I said, photos, I think my playground just crashed. One second. I'll try and talk and say what I was saying. Photos, videos. Stop. I'm just waiting for my iPad to connect again.
We just had one question, Miriam. So Tiffany was
Yeah.
on. So I say if you just go through, if Tiffany comes on, just see which
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Well,
there.
yeah, she'll come back.
Yeah. It is after. It's totally crashing for some reason. It's going so well.
Yeah, mine just crashed too over this way. That we're in Newcastle and my kids need to go through too. So we're kind of rebooting.
That's okay. I've crashed too. I think we've all just had a moment of like a device crash. So just let me back up. You can see my screen again, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, where we were, I'm going to actually just backtrack. So we're going to try and replace, I'll show you what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and replace this image with our logo or an image that you want to create or put in there. It'll have to be in your camera already. So the first step, I'm going to just close these down because I know the first step is you go up here. So your side navigation bar, and you click on your plus and you go into photo, and then you click on a photo. So I could actually do a different one this time. I'll do a different one. So I've clicked on a photo and it's gone, and it's actually called itself image asset 1 because I have 2 of them. If you want to rename them, you can tap on them and rename them. If not, just remember what they're called. If you forget what they're called, you'll be able to pull this up and see what they are. But what you want to do is you want to then go into content view. No, not content view. You want to go into home view, and you need to find placeholder. And where placeholder is, you can do it in two different ways. I'm going to show you the way that I sometimes cheat when I'm doing it, because if you look back, your placeholder is really, really boring. I've seen what you kids can create today. It's so much better than what that looks like. So you can delete it. Who cares if this isn't there? Because we're never going to need it again. So I'm going to delete it. This is the easier way of doing it. Now, it's gone. Bye. That looks, oh, sorry, that's just Lyndsey. So it will still appear here for now, but the file is actually gone. So if you think about one of these, so image assets, you would have to type that in, but if you just go rename and call your new image placeholder, and then if I go back to preview, which is the icon besides the books. Yes, I have this. It worked. It's always good when things work. Now, if you want to see the actual steps to do this, which is the same as what I've done, the little book symbol beside it. If you haven't completed those steps yet, it's the customize steps. So I have completed these ones, but what I want to do is I want to go into these. So it's the first one where it says customize your home tab. So if you're in this, let me just move my chat box because that has now moved in my way again. This has a green tick on it, but this one hasn't because there's 10 steps on here. Now, I don't know if we're going to get through all of these today, and that's okay. But a lot of them are in these 10 steps. So what I'll do is I'll run through these 10 steps, and then we'll give you a little bit of time to play around and make some suggestions. I think it's more important than me spending time going through every single step, that I do some of them and then you can explore some stuff yourself. So the next thing that it wants me to do is to add some modifiers. You're probably wondering what a modifier is. So if you go back to my logo, here, it is a square, but what if I wanted it to be a circle instead? So you can copy the code if you just click on the little copy. Now, if you don't have this open, you can type this in as well. And if somebody gets stuck, I'm going to have this up here, and Lyndsey might pop it in the chat box, the clips shape circle, but that will just put that in to a circle. Now, what I don't like about my image, and this has nothing to do with my code, is that I do have that awkward black kind of circle that isn't a circle around it, but that will be fixed in the next stage because I'm going to put a border around it. So there's a circle around this, so I'm only just copying and pasting in every single step that it's telling me to do. I'm doing nothing that's outside of these instructions.
So again, we are having, let me just jump in real quick. We are, some people are asking, you know, they're a little behind, or they're they're listening, but then they look away, then they look up and there's a different spot. And you're going to be going over this again really quickly.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
We're getting to the point in the time where it becomes playtime. So
Yeah.
eventually here, when playtime occurs, librarians, if there are questions, just unmute, or Lyndsey's in the background right now. You can ask her directly, direct message. And we're just, you know, again, this is an introductory level of coding. So we know that not everybody's going to get right off the bat, like very much aware of this, especially virtually. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay. Just we'll get through this again, and then there'll be probably a quick overview like you're doing. And then the playtime, feel free to jump in with some questions. Okay. Everybody cool with that? Because I think it's about, what is it, about noonish, something like
It's
that?
about, yeah, it's almost, it's 5:02.
So
So I'm going to
for us,
put on,
yeah,
I'm
so
going to
there's like
put a
an hour.
border on this, and then I'll show you
Just-
where things are and give you playtime.
Yeah, exactly. And then there'll be individual questioning time there as well
Yeah.
for everybody. So everybody's good. I hope that helps. Sorry to
Mary,
jump in.
if you just show what an error message, because that's just one or two, and
Yeah.
as I said, sometimes it's, oh, they've got it now, but yeah, just it's the error message and what to do.
Yeah, so you might have an error message. So I said earlier, you might get that ugly red symbol thing comes up here. It is not as scary as it seems. And I'm going to put the border on because it is just there. And I'm gonna need that. And then I'm going to make an intentional, accidental, I don't know what we're going to call this, error. I want to make an error. So the things that you can do, I'm just going to skip just so I can make an intentional error. The all about, and this will come into your playtime, kind of, I promise I will only talk for about 5 more minutes, and then after that you can play around with it. So all about, you can replace. So what happens if you type into all about and you accidentally get rid of those inverted commas, and then it says, oh no, and you'll see this red symbol appear at the top. Look around and wonder what you've done wrong. So, oh, this is at the start, but there is none at the end. So maybe that's my error. And I have no clue on this keyboard where this is. Let me detach the keyboard. So I can type that in with my regular iPad keyboard. Sorry, I was using a keyboard attachment and I don't know where that symbol is on that, because I've never used it for this before. So now the error has fixed itself. So other places that I'm going to point out a few common places where that is. At the bottom, see this little symbol, this curly bracket symbol? I am going to put in an extra one of them. And it says extra at the start of this word. So that's always a hint for me to go, oh no, I have an extra curly bracket. What happens if I delete it? My magical warning will get rid of it. Another thing that might happen is you don't have enough of them. So what's the opposite to extra? Let me delete this and let us find out. Expected. So the only thing to remember is extra always means more. And expected means it's expecting to see one here, but it's not here. So it's not going to work. So yeah, it's not going to work. And I'm going to put that in there. When you're doing this in, I'm going to say real life, you are actually doing this in real life right now. When you're doing this in coding, I always had this big fear that you would get loads and loads and loads of these. And sometimes you do. A couple of weeks ago, when I was looking through a student app, there was 12 of them. And I thought it was basically a lost case scenario that they were just going to have to start from the very beginning again. But a lot of it was small things like extra brackets, too many brackets, something spelled wrong. And we cleared those errors in probably 5 minutes. And the world is still turning and their app is still working. So this is where you make those mistakes. And if you make a lot of mistakes today, what's the worst that happens? You just start over. So you can start over. I know I've started over lots and lots of times, and so has Lyndsey. I'm going to go back to point you through a few things to look at in this playtime time where you can just try what you want. People can unmute, ask, and we would like to see some things at the end, but we're not going to give you any expectations. One, you can go through the steps like I was going through and see what those other 10 steps are. The second one is go through the pages. So story, there's nothing in here. But if you go into favorites, there's a lot of fun stuff that you can change in here that I think you might like. So I need to bring up the right code first because I'm not seeing any bike or surfer emojis in here. But the page is called favorites. So I go to my side navigation and I just get favorites up. And can I see those there? Yes, I can. So you can change these. So what are your 3 favorite things? I'm going to put in a camera. So this is just typing. When you start typing, I'm going to just detach my keyboard so that you can see what it'll look like for me as well. Your emojis are just on your bottom. Oh, I think I'm going to have an error for something that I just did there. No, I didn't. I don't know why I just typed. I was expecting an error. So in here, if you're not sure where your emojis are, they should be on the bottom. So a second thing that you might like, you can see my most frequently used emojis are very, very random there. And I don't know where I used that little gardener person. That's a surprise. So I am going to put in a second thing that I like doing. Do you like traveling? So if I can get a little plane. And I'm going to pop that in there. And the third thing that I like doing is, you know, the emojis, probably better than I do. I'm just going to put a hedgehog in there. I don't know why. I saw a hedgehog and it seemed like a good place to put them. So hobbies, I don't know what a hedgehog has to do with hobbies. Guess my favorite colors. If you tap on this, it will open up a little menu. I hate the color pink. So that is not me at all. So I need to find where is pink. So can you see anything that looks like pink? No. Can you see a color that looks like it might be pink? I see purple in here. And then I see orange, and there should be a pink in between them. The pink is actually a custom color, because if we look up here, that pink doesn't exist, only this pink. But what you can do is you can change these and see what color will this be if I put in 5. Blue. I like that color a lot more than pink, so that can stay. That was a lucky guess because I didn't know what 5 was going to do in there. But if I wanted to change purple to blue, I could. Now I'm going to show you another mistake, because this is the mistake that I see all the time, is you put in blue. And what have I done there? I have forgotten to put in the dot before the blue. So colors need to have a dot before them. And if I put in the dot, it will fix. So now I have 3 colors that are a little bit better than having pink in there. The orange kind of doesn't really go with that color, but I'll just put in like mint or teal or another color that I know that's in there from the, oops, I spelled that wrong. Still spelled that wrong. And teal. And I've got 3 better colors that are more like my favorite colors. So for the rest of the time, play around, see what's in these. The other one that you might have, oops, the other section that you might have fun trying is the fun facts view. So if you open up fun facts, show random facts, there's probably a whole lot more than 12,600 people in your town. But where that is over here. So you can do other fun facts, like what's your favorite game? What are you going to do? What are you going to eat for breakfast on Wednesday or something like that? You could put random facts in there. So try and see what you can change. If you break anything, it's okay. This is where you break it. Remember, you've already created amazing logos and incredible prototypes in Keynote, and this is your very first day coding. And I'm sure you've all created your first line of code already. I'm going to just come off here so I can see this screen better. But take time, and if anybody has any questions, you can unmute or put them in the chat box, but you can unmute and we'll try and help you.
Well, Tiffany was already crushing it because she managed to figure out an error, so well done,
Yeah,
Tiffany.
it's always good to get those errors. The errors are the scary things, but really it's kind of fun when you fix a mistake. I always feel really proud of myself when I fix a mistake, even though I've had thousands of them, I'd say now. But I love fixing mistakes, or when you try to do something and it really isn't working, and then you get it to work. I can show you another. If
Well,
I just
half the time when it's an error, it's because I've got big fat fingers. I've accidentally put something in. I
Yeah.
shouldn't,
That's my
or I've
error
deleted
too.
something.
I can agree with that. No, the
So-
I'm enjoying your the language differences, the words you're choosing to use, like tick instead of, we say check mark. And it's a you say or what was that, quotations, upside down commas, inverted commas or something. I was like, okay, that's cool. I never thought of it like that, but yeah, that's exactly what
Yeah,
it
I
is.
was thinking this morning, because I do spend like about 6 weeks a year like in Philadelphia, and I was like, if I'm talking about time, I need to like convert all my language. And yeah, I was like, okay,
Cool.
don't
No, it's
talk
cool.
about time.
Listen,
So I always confuse everybody.
no, it's good. It's cultural. It's wonderful, right? Yeah, no, you guys do a great job. Just let them play, let them play. You don't
That
have
is
to
the
do
fun part.
everything all the time.
Now that's even
And
when
I
I
have
worked in the summer
I have
camp.
another
You say
error.
3:30. No one has an idea what you're talking about if you say 3:30, and I have to always go 3:30.
So 3:30 is 3:30.
Yeah, we do like, so
Or like
a quarter
quarter
past or 1:45. So
Quarter
a quarter
to.
past is
2:15.
3:15, and a
2:15.
1/4 is 3:45.
Yeah, those we do that as well. It's a quarter till.
Yeah, but
Quarter till. Yeah, quarter. Same.
like
We
we
do that.
do quarter to instead of quarter of, and
Quarter of.
yeah, isn't it like quarter of? It's quarter to or 45? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I
It's-
always get so
a-
confused.
The beauty of the internet is I don't have to leave my house and I'm meeting people around the world. That's how this works.
That is really good.
I can
I'm
see
just
them all
hoping
looking at
someone
me.
shows us something. That's what
So
I'm hoping.
I've made have I made? I've changed the color of a font there that I can share. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what people do as well. And think about it, even this morning you woke up and you probably hadn't coded before, and now you've created an icon for an app, you have created a prototype, and you've written.
Oh, I
Here we
think
go.
there's someone coming up to us.
Oh, we got some people coming up. Oh, let's go.
Oh,
Oh, I
nice.
need to stop sharing so I
I
can
gotta stop
see.
sharing so we can upload this. All right, let me see this. All right.
Let's
Oh,
see
wait.
this.
Okay, so Newcastle's rocking it. Here we go. Okay, so well, hold on, wait. Hesitation.
He showed us his icon.
There we go.
So
Okay, go.
basically, what? Oh man, another thing popped
Go
up.
ahead. Can you go right ahead?
Basically, what I'm doing is I'm trying to make an app for like if Kirby ever made like a Roomba type like vacuum,
Yeah.
except for it's like Kirby. So
Okay.
this would be the app,
All right.
and it would be operated by something that you would have to connect to your phone, and that would be you have to get it on the App Store. And
Yeah.
then it has a map of the living space, so it doesn't just run into things and cause chaos.
Yeah.
Then there's the speed modes, and then you can also buy parts. When you click on parts, oh dang. Cooperate. Okay.
If you
It
click
goes with. Now I'm just gonna use these as examples for like parts,
Exactly.
Nice.
and I'm still yet to make a home.
No, you're
That's
on your
okay, that's cool.
good. You're on your
you
way.
still
press-
get to do something. You've done more in the last hour
done
than I have in my
Thank
whole
you.
weekend so far.
If
And
you
then-
see do you see the play button on the top of the screen? So if you press the play button, so the
Triangle.
kind of sideways triangle, see up at the very top of the screen,
Yeah, that.
you press that. Now press your button.
Now
And
pressure.
that when you do speed mode, when you go to
you
there,
go.
it shows you the different speeds that you could do 1, 2, 3. Oh,
Nice.
that.
I
You're
go
on your
That's
way.
to
Yeah.
connect to the
Speed up
actual
quicker.
thing. That's to connect to the actual thing if you wanted to. So I actually have to go back up because.
That is cool.
And then the map of the living space is kind of just like something. Wait, I got. Oh, wait, what? Okay. Map of living space. Go. There we go. this would be like where it would go. That represents the vacuum,
Yeah.
and so the path you have to like code it yourself, like the path that you would want it to go. Like, you know, the bad thing about it is if the carpet has other ideas and starts shifting it by the brush roller.
Now, what are you gonna do when the dog attacks it? That's the question I have.
Oh,
Yeah.
it'll be well. It's gonna be made of metal anyway. It's gonna be like
So you're fine.
it's basically gonna be like the shop vac Kirby, except for with like the. It's
Okay.
gonna look like a Kirby vacuum without the handle and the shop
cool.
vac system.
Nice.
So
Make sure you show your family this when you go and be like, listen,
Patent it when you go home before
go
someone
home and
takes it.
show them.
I'm actually going to my friend Lydia's
That
birthday.
happens. Well then, yeah, when you do
Nice.
make it to your house, make sure you talk about, I had the opportunity to make an app today and I decided to vacuum the house. Okay, that's what you tell them.
Parents will be very happy.
That's
They'll be
amazing.
super
Well done.
happy. That's cool. Thank you for sharing.
I mean, Roomba can't be the only ones that actually
No.
have like.
No, I mean, do you know how many
100%.
you know how many videos there are of cats sitting on Roombas? I mean, yours could be the next version.
Yep. You don't
Thank
have
you.
to worry. My dog wouldn't attack it. My dog would run away and hide.
Yeah.
Doesn't like vacuums.
Thank you. What's your name? Hey, what's your name?
Leland.
What'd you say? Dylan?
Leland.
Neelan.
Neelan.
Sorry to meet you. Nice to meet you, Neelan. Very cool.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
That's amazing. I love your use of shapes for like the whole thing, how you use them in all the different screens.
And it really looks like a vacuum as well, your shapes.
Yeah, so Annalise, you jumped on your phone. Thanks for jumping back in. So I just want to recognize that I see you. The laptop battery died. It's like, you know, little things. You can't plan these things. It's like welcome to teaching.
Working with tech.
Do we have someone from Leechburg want to share something? I see faces that look like they
Yeah,
want to
it's like
share.
it's staring right at me. You want to share something? Or no?
Oh, you gonna share?
Someone's gonna share. Oh, okay. I can't wait.
Yeah, Leechburg.
Leechburg's all done. Leechburg's all done.
All right, so Leechburg Talon. That's Talon. The guy staring at that's Talon. Talon. So anybody from Leechburg want to show what's up? Or they're not.
I
They're
think we
like,
have one.
Okay.
One was volunteered, but
okay. One was voluntold. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
voluntold.
Very nice.
I think you put the final touches.
Yeah, take your time. No, listen, this is where we are. You got the rest of this run is to create stuff. So let's go. Yeah, and what'll happen is Lyndsey and Miriam, this is just how the Saturday works. Some of them will be like, oh, we got it, cool. And then they'll just, you know, hey, I'll see you later. And we kind of, it always fizzles out like, 12:45. It's like, okay, well, we're just sitting here staring at you now. So, you know, because you've empowered them to do, right? So yeah,
No, it's good for them to, and even if you're sitting here from any of the libraries now, and the last part, you might really love coding, you might never want to code, and you love the keynote bit. It's okay to be just doing your keynote prototype. I have students that have made keynote prototypes that are just unbelievable that they've never had time to code. And then I have some that really getting to the code. I think what's good is there's bits for everyone. And in an app development team, you do have the graphic designers, you have the coders, you have everyone. So
I wonder if Annalise has the soccer, has that. Oh, okay, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
Here it comes. Are you back? What's your name, by the way? What is your name? Oh, you're muted, Annalise. Sorry. All right, what's their name? That's Annalise, and then
Gloria, Dyson.
Dyson. All right, Dyson, what's going on, man? Okay. Oh, so you pushed the play button already?
Mhm.
Very nice. Okay.
I haven't finished this page quite yet.
But you're on your way.
Yes.
You're on
Love
your
the
way.
color scheme.
Yeah,
Dyson has the best color scheme so far.
that's cool. Very
I
cool.
like purple.
That's in playgrounds, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
you can see he's flying. You've actually started your first app.
Amazing.
Well, it might not be your first app. You might be way better at app design than we are.
Again, it's
Have
like,
have you created apps before?
This is just my first time.
That's incredible.
Wow.
That's really
That is
good.
that is very cool for your first time.
and this is
And
why
your
this-
own artwork.
yeah, the grant, this is why I'm super excited that this grant exists, because I was a kid in the library just like this growing up, and I wish I had a chance to do something like this. So that's the emotional part of me. But yeah, that's dope. It's good. What happened to the
Would
soccer?
you like to do more of it? Now that you've done it.
Where's the soccer player part of it? Are you working on it?
Of code.
Yeah, very nice.
Coding.
Get on it, man. You got this. All right.
All right.
So Sharon says they're struggling with software. Crashing. Thank you, Annalise. Okay. Did I download?
Sometimes the can I just sorry, Sharon. Did your Keynote crash as well, or is it just your Swift Playgrounds? Just sometimes with the Apple apps, if you don't have an Apple ID on them, the apps keep crashing. Unfortunately, I've had that before. If it was just your Swift Playgrounds, then possibly you might just have to re-download it. Mine just crashed that once. It did like majorly crash. That was a surprising crash, but normally the Playgrounds app doesn't really crash a lot. But if it's happening with if you've other Apple apps on there like Pages or Keynote or Numbers, and they crash as well, it might need an Apple ID on the iPad.
Like if you've set yours up where it's one ID and everybody's on the same
Yeah.
ID. Apple's like, well, there's 12 people on one ID. It's like sharing a Netflix password.
Yeah, it just kind of just makes them work not great.
You get angry.
Hey, Talon, slide to your right 4 inches. I'm trying to see the kids behind you. There you go. You're just staring through my soul there, Talon.
I thought he's gonna show us more stuff.
So Sharon, is it are you trying to re-download or no? Because like you have the Keynote part done. Most of your kids will have Keynote. That's great. Then you start fresh. It sounds like starting over is a big deal, but like you're not miles into an app yet, so it's not that big of a deal just yet. So maybe
And the walkthrough is there.
Yeah.
So all the steps we did, it goes through it really, really clear on step-by-step instructions of how to do it.
There's also I'm just
Here's
gonna
Sharon.
quickly
Here's
look it up
Sharon.
and put it in the chat box. There's actually an Apple, like a PDF resource for this particular playground that I'm just gonna find for you that you can use after as well. Just give
Hi,
me a
Sharon.
moment.
You're unmute. Oh no, you are unmuted. No, you're good. No, I screwed that up. It was backwards. I saw mute and I was like, wait, is she muted? No, never mind. All right, so go ahead, Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
No, we were having trouble with the Swift Playground. I'm just trying to read these messages in here. And maybe it was like you said with the Apple that it's just too many iPads logged into the same ID. I don't know. We just
You can, I mean, this is where like with because I know when we originally got the iPads, there was that real question about like, are we setting them all up with one? Is our tech department setting it up with one? Because we opened Keynote last week and some of us were collaborating on the same, you remember that? And I think wasn't that you? Is that yours? I think that was you guys last time.
Yeah, we just set them up that they were saving them under their own names.
Okay.
And then that seemed to work out fine. And we've got the Swift Playgrounds that it was saved, that they were renaming,
Okay, and it was working
their
fine.
additional presentations, but I don't know, it kept crashing
Okay.
through this. So there was just that frustration with code. I think there was just some, that perhaps if we can get the link and go through it again. So
yeah, again, your kid, like I said, this is, if I don't know, it isn't scheduled for your library for next week, but if they want to come back and sit and hang out, it's also, this is again next week if they want to try again and work out your kinks on your iPads or from home, they could follow along. I'm going to be emailing out everybody the YouTube link for once this is downloaded and I'll resubmit it. So you'll see, you can follow along step by step. You get what I'm saying? Like I mean, it's bandwidth and logins at Apple. I really can't. That's beyond me. Yeah, I feel bad. But at the same time, I think, there's always tomorrow. There's always another restart and let's try again kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's how I try to be. I know you are as well, Sharon. I know.
I think
Listen,
someone's coming towards the camera.
if anyone is going to solve the problem, it'll be Sharon. That's what I do know. Okay, so.
Oh, Leechburg, we've
All right,
another
there
person
you
wants
go.
to share.
Leechburg, got one? You gonna share something or no?
Oh,
Okay.
look at this.
Oh, it's the okay. So Leechburg is the owl one. All right. So go ahead. Did you push play on
Oh,
it?
it's bed with music.
Can you unmute? All right. Okay. Oh, yeah. You got because everybody has their mics on. They're all listening to you. Okay. So, all right. So what do you got, Talon? Let me see this guy.
That's his.
Kind of mute, yeah. So walk through it. I'll mute it. I'll just walk through. Push play on it. You mind holding it up? Can you bring it a little closer? Oh, very nice. Okay. So
Is
that's
it like a nighttime music for going to bed?
is that what it is? What is the purpose of it? Well, type in the chat. And that's exactly
You got it.
right on the money.
See how good you were that even
Tim
without
was good.
audio, she could guess what it was.
Very nice. That's cool.
That's a sign of a good app design when someone knows what it is and you don't even have to explain it.
Thank you.
Oh, and this is the part that feels kind of boring to me because we're like, okay, now they're empowered. I'm just gonna sit here and like but at the same time, you're like, here they come again. Let's do this again. What do you got? Is somebody else? No? Oh, I thought they were gonna come up and show me some more stuff. Oh, they are. Oh,
My
no.
favorite part when they're showing you stuff. It's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Oh, here
All
we
right,
go.
what do you got? Maybe he's coming over. No, he just had to get by Talon. That's cool. That's very cool. I'm glad everybody's here and having a good time. Again, like librarians, if you're good and like maybe Sharon, you guys are like it's not working for you this time. We'll figure it out. I have a guy, an IT guy on my end, but you have an IT guy on your end. See if you can work it out before the next thing. Even if they want to come back next week, or the pace of the session. It's a little, this is a little bit faster than the last one. We'll adjust for the next week, slowing it down a little bit more chunking. It's again, we started behind. Some of us started behind. Some of us, we had the bandwidth issues, like the crashing. It's technology. It's kind of expected with some things. But we'll definitely slow it down. We'll chuck it out a little bit for next week. If your kids want to go back and pause and start, and you can work it in again, that'd be cool. But that's where we are. Starting from scratch, I know I'd like absolutely hate going backwards and starting over, but I can't control that my car broke down because just of an iTunes login or something, beyond me. So that's kind of where we are. I mean, we are seeing some cool stuff. From what we are seeing, the kids are the ones that are able to get through things. And if you have anything going on, Tiffany, I know, do you have ways to, let's see, doing it from scratch right now. I'm reading your message. It's some of these are, I don't know, it's some STEM things that we do in this are, some kids are going to take to it, some kids are not going to take to it. It's just, that's hard to grasp. I mean, I don't like saying that, but that's, some people are just better at it, right? Than others. I'm not good at this. Like I can design in Keynote, but like at the moment it's like, let me jump to that. I'm like, this is a headache. But I'm going to try. So, but then you have Dyson and you got the Zumba, or the Roomba. That's what we're going to find throughout as we do this. When we build the PC, you're going to find the 6 kids who really are like, okay, let's do. And then that becomes very step by step by step. And so there'll be some kids who are just watching, like I knew this one, this was, I was excited for this one because it's very cool, but this is one of those that, some kids are just, it's just maybe not in their wheelhouse. And then now they know that. And that's the great life lesson, when we talk about certain kids are just ducks to water with other things. So it's cool. I mean, it's what it is.
But you also discover kids that maybe didn't code before and now they really want to. And it's going to be the same with anything you do. Like I know you get me to run this fine. If you got me to run like 2 hours on GarageBand, I would have done it. But like I wouldn't have, I have to teach GarageBand too, but it's just not my thing. Code is my thing, and every kid has a different thing, and it's opening up opportunities for them. And then there's others who are like, oh, I'm gonna start using Keynote shapes for all this schoolwork or posters or something like that, and they get into graphic design. So, and in the same with our app, we had a kid drew all the graphics, did all the photos, videos, everything incredibly better than anybody else could, but had no interest in coding it. But without her design stuff, the app wouldn't be what it is.
It's like that left brain, right brain kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have projects, and like each one has a different role. So some of them are the designers, some of them do all the social media and come up with all of that. Some of them do all the code. So although the code might not be the strongest, I said, you can see by a good few of them, design is definitely a good few of their wheelhouses. But even now, like there's a lot of stuff out there that can help them code without having to code, but they might make friends with somebody here who's really good at coding, come up together, make a team, and be the next powerhouse in tech.
That's actually very true. I mean, I didn't think about like the social emotional part of this is like, I bet you the kids who are having problems or not even the kids that have problems, but the kids who this is challenging to and kind of uncomfortable are relying upon people around you and around them. So that's like the side part of the social emotional piece of how do I problem solve? How do I emotionally? So, even if it's like, hey, I learned, and this is, again, you can't really gauge this, but like, asking a question. My son back there, he will not ask questions, but when he does, he's mentally agreed to that. So it's cool. I'm glad. Struggle is real. It's a good thing to work through. It's rewarding. Next month, so the kids who are here next month, it's a VR AR placement. So your images from Keynote and placing them in the real world is different than this. Like it's an actual, like you're going to be walking around the room next month. Like, oh, there, I put my Pikachu over there. And like, oh,